our February hop. This month we are going to be working with paper nest dolls, and here is the one that I worked with. Super cute little girl with the fireflies in the jar. And you'll find tons of really cool digital stamps. The links are below. Make sure to hop to everyone's video. Make sure to comment, subscribe, and like all the videos. And then of course follow the directions that you'll find down below so that you can be entered in the prize to win. In addition, if you comment on my video, you could win this cute little digi. So have fun and enjoy the hop. Bye! Okay, so today I'm going to use my Inktense blocks, and you can see how I have arranged them and put a swatch. I just glued a piece of watercolor paper down there, and then I painted each color below it because the blocks don't really look like what the color is. And then I actually, with a permanent marker, I wrote the number of the block down there, and that's how I organize my blocks so that if they wear out, I can buy more. But the way that I use these is just like watercolor, basically like watercolors. I don't really use, obviously I don't have the pencils. I wanted to be able to just paint with them like a watercolor, but Inktense are so sort of fun and interesting to work with because, and you can kind of see it here, once it's dry, it doesn't mix with the color that goes over the top of it. They're also fairly translucent to being almost very translucent. So they're really great for working with stamps because it doesn't cover up the lines of the stamps. Like if you stamp it or you print it or whatever, it doesn't cover up the line of the stamp, which is one of my frustrations with so many different coloring mediums, is that they cover up the stamped image. Inktense doesn't do that. They are super, super intense. Like just a tiny bit of ink, of the ink really shows up. The colors are brilliant and wonderful. They mix well. And I don't overdo it. I just like put some water down, dab the color on and dry it. I try to add a little more depth of color around the outside of the image to give it that shading. Here I'm showing you that I'm using a metallic acrylic paint to paint the lid. And I'm going to do the same thing with the little fireflies because I want those to be sparkly, like they're metallic. You're going to find that I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to darken her skin. I'm doing that for a couple reasons. Number one, I didn't want the ethnicity to be obvious. I wanted it to be, you know, maybe she's African American, maybe she's Asian, maybe she's just in the dark. You don't know. Because she is kind of at night, right? She's got her fireflies in her little jar, and she's got her little bare feet, and of course her bare feet are dirty, so I put some more brown on there, and I wanted the skin to be a richer, more olivey tone. So I'm going to work in this art journal, and you can kind of see some of the stuff, and I thought, oh, I'll use that background. Nah, I'm going to start over. You can see some of the stuff I've been working on in there. And so this is obviously going to be an art journal page, and I'm just throwing down some blue acrylic paint. I want to do the alcohol technique. So this is the alcohol technique. You put down one color of acrylic paint, and that's what I'm doing here. And I've got to get it dry. I put way too much down, and it was a little bit of a mess, so I kind of took some of that cleaning off camera, but I basically, first you got to get that dried. So I've dried out that blue acrylic paint. And then I'm going to go back in with the same, oh, see, there's the rubbing alcohol. You need the 70% rubbing alcohol, you need some water, and you need your other acrylic paint. And I love doing this technique with metallic acrylics, and that is actually a peridot green, and it's the same color that I used for the little fireflies. I did look this up on Google, and they do shine kind of yellow-green, so that's the color. Never seen fireflies in real life. Maybe this year, who knows. Anyway, so I'm putting that on there. Really thin. You have to thin it out with water, and then you just splash the alcohol on there and watch what happens. But it has to be that 70% alcohol. It has to be that really intense alcohol. See how it clumps up like that? It's a really fun technique. I did learn this from cat hand. So then I dry it, and I took that off because, oh, it took a while to dry that. And see, I'm still working on that drying. It takes a while to get it dry, but do you see how you get that, the water droplets stay? Isn't that cool? So that's what I did with my background. And then I'm going to take these, this dragonfly stencil. I did cut that on my silhouette. It's a silhouette file. I take manganese blue and leaf green archival ink and a sponge. And I'm going to go ahead and sponge those dragonflies onto the background just to add that extra layer of texture, kind of visual texture. And so I'm going to put the green in the center and the blue on the outside on the wings and on the tail, so it kind of gives it bi-colored. And you know, they're really subtle, but that ink, again, once it dries, it's permanent. Then I go in with the manganese blue and I put it around the edges, and I also wanted to make where the spiral was showing white, I wanted to make that blue. So it took me a while to get this done, but I did it that way. You can see I'm putting a frame of blue around the outside. And my next task is actually to adhere my little girl down, and I'm going to use my golden matte medium. Now, one of the things about matte medium is if you put it over the top of metallic, it kind of takes the shiny metallic away. So you can see, you'll watch, I'm being very careful not to put too much of this stuff down, right? I'm going to go over the top of it. Then I'm going to get my paper towel, and I'm going to work that because I don't want to lose. Matte medium can cause all that metallic to kind of stop being shiny because it's matte. So I get my paper towel in there, and I just want enough to adhere it down. Matte medium is great for gluing things down, but you got to be careful with that. So then I pull out, these are Faber-Castell metallic colored pencils that I'm using. I think I used one Prismacolor at one point, but the rest were all Faber-Castell. And I'm just trying to put like a glow around her, just like, and pull her out from the background. And then I actually take more of those. I take a rose-colored one, and I think that's a dark blue, and I go over her as well to give her a little bit of that metallic sheen. And then I take my Malto white paint pen and write "Let Your Light Shine." And I really sped this up. The key to the handwriting thing is to take your time. I also take that pen and I just put it around, and then I dab it with my finger, and then that's really starting to pull her, give her that glow. And I drew these little butterflies that were horrible and I hated them. I went over the white lettering with a gold lettering, so it's thinner. The gold is thinner within the white, and you can see it in the close-up pictures. But I just wanted to put, like, the white was a glow around the gold. It's that, bringing that light back into this piece. Let your light shine. It does take a while to write this. As you can see, I took my time. The previous time I wrote it, it was sped up 8 times. And here it's only 2 times. So you can tell that you have to take your time when you're writing. It also helps to do classes in calligraphy, because even though this isn't calligraphy, calligraphy really teaches you how to form each letter very carefully and correctly, and that can really help, because my regular handwriting is atrocious. It's atrocious. I'm a college teacher, and you know, I've spent a lot of years taking notes in class, and like any doctor, my handwriting is atrocious. But when you take a calligraphy class, it's almost like writing becomes something else entirely. It's not like writing. Yeah, that's the best I can describe it. So I hated those little butterflies, so I found this paper in my stash, and it is actually green metallic vellum cardstock that matches the paint that I put on there, which is kind of fun. So I punched a bunch of these butterflies with my Martha Stewart butterfly punch. Now I'm going to glue those puppies over the top of my ugly little hand-drawn. I try to get that white to recede by coloring over it. It's not really working. So I get out my matte multi-medium and put those down on there again. And just glue them down. But I want them to kind of stick up too, so I folded them in the middle and I just glued down one side, and that gives them dimension. And in the close-ups you can see that the little butterflies have some dimension, and of course when the book closes it'll press them down. But because that's kind of a metallic vellum cardstock, I think it will maintain a little bit of that dimension without being lumpy, because I don't want my art journal to get so lumpy. This one in particular, I don't use a lot of stencil paste in it because I don't want the pages to be lumpy. So here I'm showing you that I am using a dip pen with India ink, and I'm giving bodies to my little butterflies. And then, I don't know, I get this crazy idea that I'm going to write a frame around there. And then I hate the frame, so I go in and I dab it. But of course India ink isn't completely gone. So then I just start writing and dabbing, giving it again some more of that shadowing in the frame. And that's pretty much all I do with this. I hope you enjoyed this.